What's up, everybody? JDX Pony here, and I'm Brian.
I'm Mr. Urban the One, and I'm Asayan, returning to our dramatic reading of SHINRA High. This time we are on Chapter 2.
In which Vincent Valentine wears a blouse. I finally said it, god dang it.
We had to do so many takes of that. 1 minute passed, then the next. Behind Julia, someone had begun to snore.
Sounds like a mix of fudge. I can't speak, I swear. Sounds like a cement mixer.
She thought, turning to see the fool who was already asleep. The fool was a boy, obviously older than THEN then, as opposed to THAN, which is the proper one. Older than she, perhaps in 10th. He had unruly blonde hair that stuck up in great spikes, giving Julia the impression of a chocobo.
Better giving off the impression of a chocobo than a goth whore.
His eyes were closed, and he had tanned skin, through which toned muscles could be defined. He was also drooling on his desk. Wait, blonde hair, tan tone... Is this Titus?
At least Cloud knows how boring this story is. He is not fooled by the Sioux. Oh, Cloud, I'm so proud of you.
Disgusted, Julia reached into her purse and withdrew a rubber band and a small piece of gravel. Who the hell carries gravel in their purse? Rubber bands I can kind of see, but... What the hell?
Yeah.
Grinning at the people giving her thumbs-up signs and grinning at her.
Because in Juliaverse, if she hates a character, all the other characters will do the same, no matter their canon-established relationships.
She loaded the fragment of rock into the rubber band and fired it hard. It flew, true to its aim, and resultantly smacked the sleeping sports jock, at least that was her impression, right between the eyes. God damn, I didn't like Cloud at first because he was emo and kept complaining, but he had a reason to complain. I don't know if you've played Crisis Core yet, Julia, but it explains so much. Seriously, like what we said before. Just because you don't like a character doesn't mean that everyone else doesn't like that character. With a yell, the blonde woke up, cursing a blue streak and clutching at his nose. The entire class was roaring with laughter. The entire class was roaring with laughter. Not a good way to start the school year.
Being bullied by the class skank? I agree. It must suck. Ooh, I get to do Cloud's voice.
You get to do Cloud's voice. You ready?
Who is the goddamn idiot that had the nerve to...
Trailed off as a tall man entered the room. Julia, by this time, was facing forward in her desk, located, much to her disliking, in the front of the room.
Why? I thought she was a prodigy who aced all the subjects. Why would she care if she was in the front of the class?
Because she can't hide in the corner and sulk.
She obviously likes attention, otherwise she wouldn't go out of her way to make herself noticed by Professor Hojo in the class.
As the tall man entered the room, she prayed that he was the professor, and that he was going to start the class before she was an old woman. She's going to be one soon enough with how long this story goes on. 170 chapters.
How many?
170.
I'm not doing all
Yes,
of
you
those.
are.
No.
Dude, pretend you're getting paid. Professor Vincent Valentine, wearing a pristine navy suit with a crisp white blouse underneath it. Well, there you go. We promised Vincent Valentine in a blouse. There he is.
Oh, wow.
And a tie which perfectly matched the navy of his jacket. Good morning, class. Welcome back to SHINRA High. He was greeted with stony silence. Someone at the back of the room threw an eraser cap at him.
He then pulled out his gun and blasted the eraser cap into a million pieces, effectively ending all attempts at questioning his teaching credentials.
Okay, anyway, I just put you in these seats to take attendance. Then you may choose your own seating arrangement. Understood? More silence. Why did they make Vincent a freaking high school teacher?
I don't know.
Roll call went by quickly, and Julia stood striding to the back of the room, in the far corner of the room, where she sat down.
Retribution is not your friend in this case.
She's like a spider. She likes corners in which she can spin her Mary Sue web of suck. Any poor soul unfortunate enough to become trapped in it is promptly devoured. She injects venom into their sides, and sucks them out till there's nothing but a shell she attaches her webbing to, and forces it to prance around with her 6 sou puppetry.
I need an adult.
And waited, while people shadowed and argued about seating. Finally, Professor Valentine took control
and shot Julia in the ribs, ending the story. Yay, good day, everyone. Goodbye.
Sit down at once! And then,
Damn it.
in a much more quiet and mild-mannered tone, he added, I'd like to start class now. Julia stifled a laugh and picked up her pencil.
What?
Ready to take notes. Seems like she couldn't decide what verb to use.
Indeed.
The rest of the class passed quickly, with Professor Valentine giving his back-to-school lecture and beginning the first chapter in their textbook.
Good job.
This is boring. Which weighed approximately 10 pounds.
Getting more interesting.
Julia added that to her book bag and flew
like a bat out of hell
down one flight of stairs to English. Professor Scarlet Manichon was waiting for the class when Julia entered the room. The scantily clad professor was standing behind her desk, which was piled high with thick literature textbooks.
So, I assume we're supposed to look down at Scarlet for being scantily clad, but it's okay for Julia to wear nothing but short miniskirts and I can't say that word.
Halter tops.
Thank you.
Scarlet was frowning and popping aspirin like M&Ms, while staring at the door as though expecting Satan to walk in at any particular given moment.
What? So Scarlet didn't know that Satan was currently busy in the 7 rings of hell? So he sent Mary Sue to fill in for him?
I actually like that Satan leaves a message on her answering machine saying, Scarlet, I can't make it. Business in the 7th circle and whatnot. I'm sorry. You know how much I'd rather stay and chat with you. So instead, I'm sending a stereotypical tough girl goth/punk Mary Sue your way.
Very good.
The bell rang and Professor Manichon slammed a pointer into the chalkboard. God damn it, this is the 3rd year in a row I get a Mary Sue in my class. I demand a budget increase. That's not actually what's written. What she really says is, seating doesn't matter, just seat yourselves. The loud chatter continued. Sit down right now.
That's not the right way.
Sit down right now. I'm sorry. Julia rolled her eyes. She already didn't like this professor. She seemed obnoxious. She was dressed like a hooker.
Isn't that pot calling the kettle black?
And she had the whiniest voice Julia had ever heard. For a professor, this Scarlet Manichon seemed more like a student fresh out of high school herself. Which means she's still more educated than your freshman ass at this point, but that won't stop you from looking down on her.
Indeed.
She hadn't the faintest idea what in the hell she was doing. The freshman in the back row could tell that it was going to be one hell of a year in Japanese. She wasn't looking forward to it.
Wait, she said she was going to English class. Where'd the Japanese class come from?
10 minutes passed, and the door of the classroom slammed open with a resounding crash. And none other than Reno Tarshil Vega came swaggering into the room, a broad grin, or perhaps more of a smirk, plastered across his tanned and vaguely scarred features.
Reno is tanned? Reno?
Pasty white, red-headed Reno? I think she hates people who can get tans because they can go out and do things and get sun on their skin, which is unthinkable for one with her perfect porcelain complexion. She must stay inside in the dark like some supire. Besides, this is Midgar, also known as the place where it is fucking hard to get a tan, even above the plate. Scarlet, looking up from her deadpan first day of school lectures, stated the obvious. Vega, you're late. I'm now envisioning Reno with a mask, braided hair, a metal claw, and seeing spit in narcissism while throwing rose petals around. It's priceless.
Oh, dear.
Duh! He strolled leisurely to an open seat in the back of the room next to Julia. You think I didn't notice? And under his breath, as an afterthought, he muttered, Dumb broad. Yeah. Julia sighed, annoyed with the interruption. She looked up from her carefully taken notes and gave Reno a searing glare. Quietly, she hissed at him.
Sit your tardy ass down and shut up. Some of us would like to pass.
Shut up, fool!
The redhead looked over at you. Hey, I remember you. You're the girl, I mean mime, from this morning.
Shut it, creep.
Reno had been staring at her breasts, and she didn't appreciate it.
Oh.
If you're not trying to draw attention to your, okay, this is kind of sensitive subject. If you're not trying to draw attention to your
cleavage.
Woman part, don't wear skanky halter tops and miniskirts, you hoe bag. Tumblr's gonna hate me for that.
Oh
well.
And if you don't keep your eyes to yourself, which I advise you do, they will be removed.
She flexed her fingers to emphasize her point. Well, considering the original picture that Sephiroth's slave has on her DeviantArt, he's probably never seen implants on a 16-year-old girl before. And really, that's no way to talk to Reno. Yeesh, don't play the saint.
The girl gets mad and says, oh, wait a minute. Just because I'm dressed this way does not make me a whore. Which is true. Gentlemen, that is true. Just because they dress a certain way doesn't mean they are a certain way. Don't ever forget it. But ladies, you must understand that that is fucking confusing. Just is. Now that would be like me, Dave Chappelle the comedian, walking around the streets in a cop uniform. Somebody might run up on me. Oh, thank God. Officer, help us. Come on, they're over here. Help us. I'm like, man, oh. Just because I'm dressed this way does not make me a police officer. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, all right, lady, fine. You are not a whore. But you are wearing a whore's uniform, I'll tell you that shit right now.
Reno is awesome.
Fuck off!
Julia is stupid.
Indeed.
Scarlet continued her lecture after writing Reno his second of many referrals to come, and Julia returned her notes, ignoring Reno as he threw paper, notebooks, pencils, and whatever else came to hand around the room. Oh, if only one of those would hit her face. You know, the Turks is a very elite operations division. Reno may have an air of casualness, but he always maintains a professional attitude and takes his work seriously. I highly doubt he was a kid with ADD who couldn't follow directions and lived to piss people off. After only 17 or so minutes with Reno, she was gritting her teeth, desperately trying to pay attention to Scarlet's lecture and take good notes, while attempting to ignore Reno, who was clicking his pen top up and down, while singing some obnoxious song. With 5 minutes to go in the period, one of the girls in the front of the class whipped around to face Reno. Now get the hell off! The girl had frizzy brown hair, a tanned complexion, and an expression of the utmost fury and frustration upon her face. The pencil she had been holding was now in several pieces on her desk and floor.
Oh. What is it with all of these tanned people in Midgar?
I think she considers anyone who doesn't have her pasty, pallid, corpse white, beautiful porcelain complexion to, have a tan. Then Professor Manichan started to freak out from lack of attention. Pauline, please face forward and take notes. You all will have a quiz on this in 2 days. And if I don't start to get some respect really damn soon, you're all going to regret the day they placed you in my class.
I'm already regretting.
Once again, Julia sighed.
2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. That's all. 1.5 minutes. Just 1.5 minutes.
Time seemed to have stopped. Not that she wasn't enjoying the class, but Reno was driving her mad. If Reno's driving her mad, how is she enjoying the class?
True.
After a miniature eternity, the bell to the next class rang, and in the halls, Reno's reputation became known to all the freshmen and transfer students in the building. A loud shriek resounded off the halls. The crowd parted and scattered, not wishing to get involved, and acting like it was nothing new. As the crowd parted...
Crowd.
No, the cloud. the crowd of clouds.
Okay.
Parted. Julia could see Reno laughing his head off, and a girl with a long brown plait tied back with a pink ribbon was in tears, her pink cheerleader's outfit now covered in blue ink, and upon her face, also splattered in ink, the remains of a red water balloon. Julia snickered. Remember, kids, all cheerleaders are stupid, mean girls, and they deserve whatever bad things happen to them. It's only natural to take delight in their pain.
Oh.
Sarcasm. Even though she couldn't say she liked Reno, she hated preps with a passion. Seeing them trash, and sometimes doing the trashing, was a pastime of hers.
Really? Julia what?
Nakahamo?
Julia Nakahamo. Impress pitched them since 2004.
I hope she gets smacked, I really do. She still sounds like every other punk goth girl I ever wore with her trashing of the preps.
Yeah.
Smiling, she brushed past the cheerleader and muttered, "Aw, that's just too bad." And she burst out in odious laughter. Just odious.
Odious.
Heading eagerly for third, all the while trying not to seem too conspicuous to the swarming teachers, attempting to determine from the hysterical cheerleader, Aerith, as her name was, what had taken place.
Aerith. God, I cannot talk. Hysterical. Have you been playing the same game?
They were failing miserably. I find it deliciously ironic that Aerith is an Aquarius, just like Sephiroth's slave. Oh God, I'm an Aquarius.
I'm an Aquarius.
Oh shoot.
We're gonna
die. Maybe that's why she hates her so much. Also, this is all I can think of when I try to imagine Julia's melodious laughter. And we suspect her laughter, and I suspect that, like, audio-wise, her laughter resembles this.
Yeah.
She was greeted by yet another shock as she walked through the door of her world history class, standing in the center of the room, talking to Sephiroth.
I can't say that.
Sen.
Sen?
Yeah, but say it like happily.
Sen!
She cried joyously, charging at her foster brother, Sen. Jesus Christ, it's a Mary Sue! Get in the car! Professor Sen Nakahamu looked at the doorway, startled, just in time to be bowled over by his younger sister. Julia, down girl, easy! My dog does that too. Must be her spiked collar at fault here. He struggled to stand up. It's good to see you too. Sephiroth ached. You mean arched.
Yeah.
An eyebrow, observing the fascinating spectacle
Of character.
and feeling relieved for both of them that he was the only other one in the classroom at that time.
Yeah. Wow. The Sue got him so amazed that his eyebrows were now hurting from so much raising.
Would someone please explain what is going on here? He was quite confused at Julia's behavior. He thought she was quiet and reserved, and at the behavior of Professor Nakahamu. When did she ever act quiet and reserved in front of him? She told him about her father's abuse 5 minutes after they met. She even went to introduce herself to a professor who was obviously pissed off. How on earth can she be described as quiet and reserved? If anything, she's uncomfortably open with Sephiroth, that is.
Yeah.
Julia reluctantly let Sen, who was desperately asking Sephiroth for antibacterial wipes, go.
Oh, sorry. I said that name. Sen was my brother in my foster family. He took care of me of me when I was little. I haven't been allowed to visit him since my... Yeah.
It's capitalized.
I know. Goddamn family took me back.
Julia briefly mentions being taken in by Sen's family, but no other family member aside from Sen is named, and every family-related memory that Julia recalls includes only Sen. This is very confusing because from what the text suggests, Sen was the only one in charge of her. Let us not forget that the author has difficulties with creating original characters, so it's somehow understandable that no other Nakahamu family member ever appears in this fic. Sen grinned. Well, there's not much they can do now. He's from the south, I guess.
God, I hope not.
Sephiroth nodded in understanding. I see. Well, I'm happy for the both of you in any case. Other students were beginning to traipse in through the door. I guess I'd better get class started, Sen muttered reluctantly. Good to see you again, Julia. Sen thought for a moment. Who do you have next? Julia grinned broadly.
The infamous Professor Hojo.
Lovely. Well, that rules out you staying after class. Come visit me on lunch break. I have many questions for you. He stared pointedly at her attire, arching an eyebrow and frowning in disapproval.
Yes, at least somebody noticed.
At least someone disapproves of how she dresses.
Yeah.
His sister sighed.
My biological father disapproved of my gothic.
No. Okay, it says, I quote. It says, and I quote,
Oh.
my biological father drove me gothic. Observe the author blatantly projecting her real-life issues with her father into fan fiction. Oh, and get used to it, because you'll be seeing that so often you will wish for the sweet release of death.
Oh, God.
Or a healthy cup of brain bleach.
Do we have some of that?
No, we don't. Your line.
Dang.
Start reading, Julia.
Though, don't worry about it too much, Sen. I already made great friends this way. Who? Julia claims she is friendless when she arrives at SHINRA High.
Unless of course she's just counting the kids that she's yelled at and made fun of, but she wouldn't since she's so much cooler than them. Sarcasm. Sen shook his head, realizing and remembering how stubborn Julia could be when given to be so. Changing her would be impossible.
May I suggest shooting her as a solution?
No matter, he muttered, and started the class, which somehow getting everyone under control long enough to pass out the world history textbooks and take roll, and give the first day lecture, which students were getting sick of.
Just like we are getting sick of Julia.
And start the first lesson with fairly little interruption. Much to his surprise, the students he thought would be disruptive were very quiet and attentive. Amazing. The Goths in his past classes were impossible. This year, in the third period at least, the Goths were manageable and cooperative.
Guess why?
The bell rang and Julia left, smiling and talking next to Sephiroth. Sen smiled, relieved to see his baby sister. I have to point out an interesting piece of wish fulfillment here. Julia is the oldest of 4 sisters and has no brothers. Sen is a kind and understanding older brother figure here. Doing well, though from her comments about her biological parents, her home life must suck. What happened to the colorful little girl I knew? He murmured, mostly to himself.
You did the Sephiroth voice for What's-His-Face.
Oh, crap.
You messed up!
I like doing What's-His-Face's voice.
Too bad. Keep going.
What happened to the colorful little girl I knew?
Colorful?
He deserves a better sister.
Yep.
He seems like a cool dude.
Yep.
From this, he murmured, mostly to himself, as the classroom's emptied.
Colorful.
Julia trotted down the hall next to Sephiroth. So, Sen is your foster brother?
Yeah.
She doesn't say yeah. Remember our agreement?
No, it's not yes. Fine, I'll do it. Hi.
She grinned.
God dang it. Okay. We were inseparable when I was little. For God's sake, he changed my diapers. He was a really great brother. He always had time for me.
Especially since he was working with the Turks from a young age, a job that allows a flexible schedule and a lot of free time. Apply today. Drop your resumes on the front page of NASA.
When I was little, he took me to the park.
Probably hoping to ditch her when he got the chance.
And when I got old enough to appreciate it, he took me to the movie.
She broke off, sighing.
He hadn't really been happy since my biological parents took me. Hell, they practically kidnapped me. I refused to use their last name. I kept my foster family name.
Sen is a Chinese name. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't have a Chinese family name, aside from the author's desire to give herself insert a Japanese-sounding family name.
When you got old enough, little kids appreciate movies no matter what the age. Unless he's expecting her to become some cinephile who understands the complex interactions of direction, production, acting, writing, etc.
I think he took her to see Bambi, and she was so traumatized she became goth. Sephiroth was up. Anyway, I gotta do the better.
Okay.
Sephiroth was obviously thinking, absorbing the new information he'd received and could not give a damn about, as they headed down a flight of stairs to the second floor, where he was jerked out of his reverie by muffled screaming and cursing. Wait, there's no quotation mark. I guess it's the narrator. What was that about? Julia asked, looking up at Sephiroth for an answer. Hojo, getting trampled to death by every student, teacher, and faculty member currently on the SHINRA High roster. Oh joy, because Angry Hojo is something I always look forward to in the mornings.
Yeah.
That's chapter 2, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in.
Is that chapter 2?
That's the end of chapter 2.
Are we sure?
Yeah, we did it!
Really?